Oh, Gamersofnations. You're here with me today. We are back in the realms of Broken Sword. So, we've spoken to the lady.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock.
And we're going to go and see Nico.
Hi!
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers underneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
Huh.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck. Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
My editor told me to drop this story. Can you believe it?
But you're not going to do that.
Oh no. I'm going to find out what's behind these killings. It just doesn't add up.
Yep.
It almost feels like some sort of conspiracy.
Yes.
The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders. The press don't connect them at all. They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone.
Right, let's go ask her about these things.
Tell me more about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell.
Well, how'd you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought me my first camera. I was 8, and my parents had just split up.
Right, let's find some more about
Did
Nico.
you live with your father?
Yes. My mother went off with her new boyfriend. I didn't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted me to study art. That's why I went to college.
Right.
Did you learn about photography at college?
God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Let's now actually go on to the clown.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arno Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it, millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was lured to his death by a snowman.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium.
How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
Okay.
Snowman, a penguin, and now a clown.
I had been about to add mime to the list, but stopped myself. I really didn't want to have to explain to George about my father's involvement with Cachon.
You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you this, I will not be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance for a big break.
Or an early death.
Right. Let's show us some of the items.
I found a piece of material near the cafe. When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed a film I shot at the cafe. Here, George. It's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh no?
Take a close look at his right cheek.
A scar in the shape of a horseshoe.
Or a crescent moon.
Right.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
Right. Let's show her the nose.
I found this false nose in the sewer.
Hey, what's this inside it?
The contents of someone's nose?
Don't
Oh,
be cross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
Okay, let's ask about the grease paint tissue. Probably not going to get anywhere, but we'll just ask it anyway.
I found this tissue down the sewer.
That's disgusting, George.
No. I think the stuff on it is grease paint, like actors use, or clowns.
It's still disgusting. Get rid of it.
Right. But that's not going to get you anywhere, so...
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Right. Time to go investigate. Right, we have 2 locations that we can go to first. We can go to the clown. Rujari is where she is, so we're not going to just release. But this is not going to get anywhere. Let's ring. We're going to ring the costume. Oh, let's ring him first, Todrick. See if he can actually give us any more information.
Hello? Who is this?
Mr. Todrick?
Oh, it's you again. What now?
Did you make a suit for a man with a scar on his face? A scar in the shape of a crescent moon?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Tell me where I can find him and I'll leave you alone.
And if I don't,
I won't leave you alone.
I can't tell you anything unless you give me his name.
Tremendous.
Thanks for nothing, Todrick.
As always. Right. I had a blank spot there. Right, it's somewhere around here. Right, let's go all the way up to here. The Risée du Monde. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. Right. Let's ask this man about what he knows. Okay. Okay. Oh god. The funeral march. Lovely. How appropriate.
Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these 4 walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible! You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
Right, let's ask him some questions.
Have you heard of a man named Plantile?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then, I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
Do you recognize this man?
Oui, monsieur. I sold him some grease paint.
It's interesting. Let's ask him about the grease paint.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Right. Let's ask him
Do you
more about
recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning. That is the man to whom I sold the grease paint. I remember the scar on his face. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Right. Khan is his name. Let's ask him about the nose.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Java. Right. Okay. Just so you know, I seem to be bombarded ungainly by people messaging me on my tweeting me, etc. So I do apologise for the notifications that are going in the background, including the Java. Let's get back to reality.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep.
Burn.
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Yes, words to live by. Okay. So, time? To... Let's go to the police, see if they know anything. Probably won't.
Sergeant Moo?
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure.
Right. Let's see if he knows anything.
I was one of the last people to see the victim alive, Sergeant.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I feel I owe it to him to find his killer.
That is best left to the authorities, monsieur. Did he speak to you? Tell you anything?
No, he just grinned and nodded.
Don't let it trouble you, monsieur. Go home and try to forget.
Right.
I know the identity of the dead guy. His name was Plantow.
Is that so? You knew him, did you?
No, but
We'll know everything there is to know about him soon enough.
I'm trying to be helpful here.
The best way you can help us is to go home, monsieur.
Okay. Let's ask him about Khan.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his right cheek.
No, monsieur. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume.
Right. Let's see what the inspector has to say. Now, you need to see him.
Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. It's Stobart, monsieur. He insists on talking to you again.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Doctor, my mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. Not
It's like a
think
national
smartly,
library.
monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need. If only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed.
But
I've been taken off the case.
what about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
That is irritating. But I suppose we can ask him some questions. Let's start with Plantard.
Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantar.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
Indeed. So, let's see what he knows about Khan.
Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No, you must forget the business of the crown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobard.
Right, that told us.
So long, Inspector.
Right, let's quickly show him the picture.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing? Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
Right. Annoying
See you
as it
later,
sounds, the real reason, we've obviously got to talk to them, obviously, but the real reason why you're dragged to the police station is because finally it is plot appropriate to actually ring Todrick, and he is actually going to answer you eventually, and finally you'll be able to get something out of him. So let's clap.
Hello? Who is this?
Mr. Todrick?
Oh, it's you again. What now?
The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown.
Right, so it's time to travel to a hotel. Now this is the beginning of interesting, quite quirky, funny characters. So yeah, let's go and visit the hotel. One of my particular favourites is Lady Piermont, which you're going to be very introduced to now. So yeah. So these guys here are, these two are two characters that you will see later on in the Broken Sword series. They're quite important. The reason why I tell you this is because on your way out, you're not going to be able to get out of the hotel. You're going to have to find ways of trying to escape through the alleyway. Now this is important for you later. So first of all, we need to talk to them. To obviously they're a bit shady, a bit, you know, a bit dodgy, because, you know, they're gangsters or mobsters, and stereotypically they're obviously going to be Italian. So
Excuse me.
Yeah?
so let's go with it.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
No, I ain't. Don't tell me I missed him. Oh, that's too bad. I love the clowns, don't you?
I've seen daytime television that was funnier.
I love it when the little guys get hurt.
That figures.
Custard pies, hose pipe down the pants, then smack! A plank in the kisser.
Let's ask them about Plantard.
You ever meet a guy called Plantar?
No, I ain't.
You missed your chance. If you're quick, you'll catch him at the coroner's.
Indeed. Let's
Do
ask
you
him
happen
about.
to know a guy named Khan?
That ain't nobody I know.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
Is this a trick question?
No. I simply asked if you recognized him.
Okay then. No, I don't.
Okay. They're not going to tell you anything. So, you know, the other
See you
guy's
later.
just going to be
Not
a bit
if you see me first.
sneery.
Excuse me. Yeah?
He's not going to tell you much either, but it's important to ask them the questions because you know it's a point-and-click game, and sometimes you know they have to say things and what have you. But yeah, I suppose I better ask them the question.
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be fun?
No, I really am looking for a clown.
There are no clowns here except you.
Ha ha ha, so funny.
Have you heard of a guy called Plantar?
No, that name means nothing to me.
Do you know a man by the name of Khan?
No, I don't.
It's very important I get to see him, and
I told you, I don't know it.
As I said, not going to tell you much.
excuse me.
Oh no,
Yeah?
not again. No, I don't want to
See you
talk to
later.
you.
Not if you...
Yes, 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 yes. I just want to get in a hotel. There is Lady Piermont. And there is another recurring character in the series. I shan't say a lot. But this is the hotel lobby. Right, let's start by talking to him.
Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, let's ask him about Plantard.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have.
Right, let's ask him about
Have you
Clown.
seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Right, let's show him the picture.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private
Ooh.
detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Right, so he's not going to be help whatsoever. Thanks for your help.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Now I'm talking to Lady Piermont, one of my favourite characters in the whole series.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George. George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I
Pardon me?
once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Right. Let's ask him about the other people.
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is dick.
Precisely.
Oh dear.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organises fundraising for Rotarians.
Oh
Lovely man.
dear.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
Ooh, what happened last night?
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be.
Oh no.
He was merely toying with my affections.
What a
And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
what a bastard. You know, some men are just rotters, aren't they? Oh dear. You could say that about some women as well, to be honest.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Ooh. Now, you can all have a guess who Merlin is. Spoiler alert. Spoilers.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him. That's Merlin.
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged.
Oh, thanks.
Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no.
Expelliarmus!
Sure, Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
Ooh, what a twat.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a
Dun, dun,
murderer.
dun.
He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honour. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
Ooh, I like this woman.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would.
Right. So that is the plan. Let's try and get in that room. I think it's wise, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen, to go and talk to this individual.
I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
Right. Ooh, a lot of options
I'm
here.
looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so.
As you do.
Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
Thanks for your help.
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats.
Let's ask him about Khan/Merlin.
Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar.
Hmm.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
It's Merlin, isn't it? Alias Khan, the clown.
I told you, I cannot tell you that.
Wish people would stop tweeting me at this time.
Do you recognize this red nose?
No, monsieur.
Right, okay, cool. Let's check the register.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan,
But
but
Merlin.
the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin. Hanging from a brass hook was a key and a plastic tag.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You are trying to steal that key, no?
No way.
Nice try. I suppose we go better check the room out. Right, which one is 22? Judging by that sort of flashing blue thing, that's obviously 22, isn't it?
If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The sign on the door read 22.
Which means this is 21.
The door was locked.
Which means I need to get the key somehow. How do you get the key? Well, the answer is speak to Lady Piermont.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello,
On that note, see you in the next part.